This young pastor, quite many years back, I was very close to him. He moved and was moved to a new congregation, and he was all excited and all wonderful and all on fire for ministry, and yet felt all the love of the people in the congregation. But there were some challenges in his life. Some in his relationship was wobbly and hobbly, and the congregation, there were some, as in every family, some dysfunctions going on and some struggles. And somehow for him, in all the struggles and being far away from home and not having the family support system, things crumbled, things fell apart, and that beautiful ideal world that he had imagined, that vision of ministry and of beauty and wonder that he had seen, was coming crumbling down. And there he was, holding on to a thread and holding on to actually being held by a beautiful friend, being held and lifted up through those challenges. I think each and every one of us experiences some challenges sooner or later in life, but in some way we experience also the valley. And as a dear deacon and church leader many years back told me, you know what? The growth doesn't happen on the mountaintop. The fertile soil is in the valley. That's where you grow. And there is some spiritual news to that. When we're in the valley, when we're facing hardship, when our hearts are broken, when we feel like we have lost it, that is where God wants to touch us. That's where God wants to enter our souls, our lives. For where we're broken, that can become the entrance for God's grace to flow into us, the door for God to enter our lives. The disciples, that is certainly true, they were broken, heartbroken, scared to death. They fled for their lives, they ran for their lives after Jesus was crucified. No one left. No one, not even Peter, who said, I'll die with you, I'll be right there, even if I have to pay with my life. Uh-oh. He was gone too. They were all left. They all left. Except the women. Isn't that interesting? The women, they stuck with him just by the cross, standing by the cross. A sign of love, a sign of connection. They wanted to be close to him. Their hopes crushed. They walked away from Jerusalem, like those two disciples to Emmaus. Cleopas was one of their names, and we do not know the other's name. May have well been one of the followers, one of the women who followed Jesus, or it may have been well an opening for you to insert your name in that very story. Sad, heartbroken, they left Jerusalem. And a stranger, someone whom they had no idea who he was, just started to walk with them. And he asked them, what are you talking about? And they stop and look at him and say, haven't you heard what happened? The Messiah, the one to save us, the one who said to set us free, the one to hit the Romans over the head, the ones to bring us all new life. He's the one. They captured him. They nailed him to the cross. Haven't you heard about it? Are you the only one who hasn't heard? And the stranger says, haven't you heard from the scriptures that it had to happen like that? And Jesus, whom they did not recognize, Jesus as a stranger walking with them, opens the scriptures to them. And they feel a burning in their hearts. They feel the presence. They recognize some fire in their bones. There is truth to that news of Jesus. Yet they still don't recognize him. What they do is they invite Jesus into their home. A stranger, they invite him in. And over the meal, as Jesus took the bread and thanked God, they recognize him. And right at the moment when they recognize him, he's gone and disappeared, while their hearts were burning. And now their feet were on fire too. They rushed back to Jerusalem. Nothing could keep them from sharing this wonderful news to those other disciples gathered and locked in Jerusalem. He's risen, he appeared to us, we recognized him, and they shared back and forth that wonderful good news. It is in welcoming and embracing, in opening up and inviting someone whom they did not recognize, someone who was so different from them, someone who was out of a different environment than they were. They recognized Jesus in them. Just like Sarah and Abram, they invited 3 strangers appear to them. They had God's good news, and had they not welcomed them, this good news might have well been lost to them. The women on the Easter morning, grieving, heartbroken, but they do not stay right there in their own little world. They get moving. Their love gets them going. They don't stay locked in. They walk to the tomb. They want to love Jesus one more time and again and embalm his body. They wanted to show their love through their actions. It is to them who love, it's to them who serve, it's to them who get out of themselves to love Jesus, to whom he appears as the risen one. Yes, with Jesus, no end is truly an end. With Jesus, there is always hope beyond the grave, beyond the fear, beyond the broken hearts. With Jesus, there is life beyond death, life right here and right now, life to the fullest, which he is sharing and living and instilling in our hearts. God is still speaking, even after Jesus has been crucified. People try to shut God up. No, God is still speaking, and this Jesus breaks down barriers and reveals himself as the living one. This very Jesus is longing for you, waiting for you to open up and to share with him what is heavy on you, just like those 2 disciples on the walk to Emmaus. What are your heartaches? What is it that you are frustrated about? What is heavy on your shoulders? To find someone, a friend who truly cares, someone with whom you can share, someone with whom you feel comfortable. In and through them, the living one is at work and may as well reveal himself to you. He is the one who is longing for you. He is the one who is walking with you. And this very Jesus sends his disciples, go back to your hometown. I am walking ahead of you. He's the trailblazer. He's walking ahead of you, almost like plowing, opening up the path for us to walk on. He is the one, the risen one. He has been raised. He is on the loose. God on the loose, God at work, God on the move, and keeps us on the move, not to stay too grounded, too bundled up, too much in the hiding. This young pastor, many years ago, a world crumbled down. A good friend stuck with him and helped him through. This very pastor was me. And the living one at work through others in his life. Will you open yourself to the living one? For he wants to be at home with you and invites you to be at home with him. May it be so. Thanks be to God.